Okay, welcome friends to the 2027 Mercedes GLC SUV. We have a lot to cover here, but if you stay tuned until the end of this video, I will be sharing with you how you can save a substantial amount of money on current new Mercedes vehicles and on other makes and models as well. All right, let's get started here. This heavily redesigned GLC that you see before you, it is an all-electric vehicle. It's got enhanced AI-driven technology because of course it does, and it's got the MB.OS supercomputing built in. And the chips that Mercedes is using, it allows this vehicle to achieve 254 trillion operations per second. So this GLC is now able to learn our preferences, and it's supposed to seamlessly interact with passengers and make real-time decisions for enhanced safety. You know, I talk a lot about new cars on this channel, but I really despise the fact that these vehicles, these new cars, have effectively become just these data collection pods. And it's not just Mercedes, it's all of them. Even the economy brands like Nissan, Honda, they're all the same thing. That's my personal biggest turnoff regarding new vehicles, but I get it. The average consumer absolutely does not care. In fact, they embrace all of this. But regardless, let's keep going here. I actually want to talk about the exterior of this new GLC. Yeah, I know the cool thing to do with every new vehicle is to completely hate the looks, but hot take here, my personal opinion, I absolutely love what they have done with the front end and the side of this new GLC. This is bold, it's different, it stands out, and the GLC, it's by no means like a top of the line vehicle amongst the Mercedes hierarchy. It's actually one of the lower end SUVs, but with that front end, which is comprised of like over 900 individual pixel lights, it just looks way more expensive, way more premium than a GLC has any right to look, quite frankly. At least for now, because this is the first vehicle to be unveiled with this design. I'm sure the GLE and the GLS will eventually wear this exact same front end or something very close to it. But I must say it looks like a prestigious car from the outside until you get to the rear end, which for whatever reason, it reminds me of a Mazda. I know something like a CX-5 only has one light and the CX-50 sort of has like this dual light design in the back, but this vehicle, it just looks a bit generic from the rear end. Comment below, let me know your thoughts. I know most of the comments are going to be hating this, but if you love to talk design, I would like to hear your thoughts. Anyway, this vehicle is larger now. Okay, the total length is about 190.7 inches, which is 5 inches longer than the outgoing gas GLC. And the GLC EV, it was built from the ground up to be an EV. It doesn't really share anything with the GLC combustion version, so it truly does ride on its own brand new platform with that longer wheelbase as we discussed before. We have two EV options to choose from. There's the GLC 400 4MATIC. This is the dual motor all-wheel drive version with 483 horsepower and about 596 pounds-feet of torque. Mercedes claims that the GLC 400 can do 0 to 60 in 4.4 seconds. Then there's the GLC 300 Plus, which is rear-wheel drive only, and it produces 369 horsepower and 372 pounds-feet of torque. Mercedes claims that this EV can do 0 to 60 in 5.9 seconds. Both electric SUVs will be equipped with a 2-speed transmission. The first gear is supposed to help with acceleration and towing, and that second gear is supposed to help out with efficiency at your highway speeds, if you will. These vehicles utilize a 94 kilowatt-hour lithium-ion battery pack with an estimated driving range of about 400 miles. And you can recharge this vehicle to get up to 188 miles of range in only 10 minutes. The GLC EV, it has a top speed of 130 miles per hour. It is electronically limited, and these vehicles can also come with a 4.5-degree rear axle steering. Now, let's move on to the interior space, which also makes quite a statement. In typical Mercedes fashion, they have went for the mega screen look. They call it the hyper screen. It's 39.1 inches. This is the largest continuous Mercedes-Benz screen to date. And yeah, this is Mercedes. We should expect this from them. Go ahead, have your gigantic screen, but I think car companies who do this, they should actually look into what Lincoln is doing. Yeah, surprisingly, when I tested the Lincoln Nautilus, that vehicle also had a massive screen, but the difference is they actually push their screens all the way to the windshield. And I believe that's what Mercedes-Benz should also be doing with their massive screens. At first, I thought it was a gimmick what Lincoln had done, but the reality is when the screens are pushed up towards the windshield, everything is actually in your line of sight and you get all of this useful information once again without really having to take your eyes off the road. Here with what Mercedes has done, it's still in that generic dash area, so you absolutely do have to take your eyes off the road by a significant amount. Does it look good? Yeah, I gotta say it is a pretty clean look the way they have the screen kind of blending into the corners. It's one seamless panel, and in general the interior, it does have some character. Mercedes has always done a good job with that. In fact, even though I'm not a big fan of this giant screen movement, even with the outgoing Mercedes products that have like the big tablet in the middle and not much else, unlike what the pictures and the videos might convey, when you actually step inside and you experience the Mercedes interior in person, it does exude character. It does feel like a more special place to be in than the BMW and Audi products, for instance. But yeah, make no mistake, this technology is ridiculous. We don't have any physical buttons and switches for the HVAC. I don't know what happened. I'm pretty sure someone mentioned that the EU is updating their regulations to force car makers to provide us with physical controls for things like the HVAC. I don't know if Mercedes just did not get the memo or if people are capping and the EU is never going to bring such a regulation out. I don't know, but this vehicle, the way that you see it here, it has no physical controls for the HVAC. It's all embedded into the screen, and really only us who are really enthusiasts about vehicles, who know about the consequences of technology like this, we understand that this is not good design. But for the average person like Susie down the street who's rocking like a 1987 Civic, when they jump inside of a vehicle like this, they are starstruck. They're flabbergasted. They love it. It's their fantasies come to life. I'm sure these multi-billion, multi-trillion dollar companies, whatever they are, I'm sure they have done some form of study, and the average person, regular people, they eat this stuff up. They don't care or think about the ergonomics, the consequences of technology like this, what happens when these screens go out and you're unable to access features, HVAC, etc. They don't think about that. Nor do they probably care, because most likely these wealthier individuals are just leasing and dumping these cars. And that's what you should do with not only luxury products, but definitely with EVs like this. Unless you want to end up being an example on TikTok who's like 20, 30 grand upside down on their luxury vehicle. If you don't want that to happen to you, you gotta lease this stuff. But anyway, moving on, I go to a lot of car dealerships. I see the reaction from regular customers. They love every new car. They're fascinated by all of them. Although it's not for me, I gotta admit, Mercedes knows how to wow a customer. And this is definitely a wow product. I will give it that. You got things like the ambient lighting, the sky control for the panoramic roof. Because this is an EV, you have good cargo space because we have two trunks. We have a 4.5 cubic foot front trunk, or a frunk. And in the back, if you fold down the rear seats, you get up to 61.4 cubic feet of space. You got available Burmester 3D and 4D surround sound systems. Once again, their audio systems, top tier, some of the best in the business. You can also get something known as the vegan package for your GLC EV, where the interior materials are independently certified by the Vegan Society. That's right. There's actually a lot more to cover, but I'm actually going to have the full Mercedes press release on the screen for you to check out. That way you can pause and you can see all of the latest updates. But these 2027 Mercedes-Benz GLC EVs, they should be arriving towards the end of 2026, again for the United States market. Again, I really want to hear your thoughts. Anyway, since you made it to the end of this video, here's how you can save a substantial amount of money on new Mercedes-Benz vehicles. You can reach out to AutoCompanion, who is one of the largest car brokers in the United States. He has partner dealership both in Washington, D.C. and in California. He does offer nationwide shipping, but shipping is something you have to pay extra for, so it would be ideal if you can pick up in either D.C. or in California. But on the mainstream 2025 SUVs like your GLC, GLE, and GLS, he's got between 10 to 12% off the MSRP. The C-Class sedan, about 12% off on those as well. And he has phenomenal deals and discounts on the EQ electric vehicles. Really affordable lease deals as well. In fact, he also has some loaner vehicles that are being sold for like 17% off the MSRP on things like the GLE 350s, but those don't last long. People scoop them up real quick. And right now, in general, Mercedes just a great value in the luxury car space. Keep in mind, lease deals, interest rates, incentives, discounts, etc. They all change every month, but AutoCompanion's website will also update every month. In the past, Mercedes hardly ever offered good deals or discounts, but this year, for the past few months, it's been great. And keep in mind the discounts that you see, that's just off of MSRP. There are additional incentives that stack on top of the 12% off that you see. And AutoCompanion carries other brands as well, like BMW, Audi, Lexus, Porsche, etc., and even some economy brands like Toyota, Mazda, Honda, Hyundai, Kia, Nissan, and more. These are truly some of the best prices in the country, but to access these deals, AutoCompanion does charge a broker fee. He did say that if you go on his website and you fill out an inquiry form and you mention my channel, he did say that he'll take some money off of that fee, and I really appreciate him doing that for my audience. So I will have all of AutoCompanion's information in the description box of this video. If you found value with this content, make sure to like and subscribe. Thank you again for watching. Take care and goodbye.